Hey, thanks so much for joining us for a brand new episode of On the Couch with Fouch. I have Chris Allman with me, Greater Vision tenor singer.
Yes.
And actually, Chris, we are on the exact same couch
This
that
is.
we did the last interview on.
This is the same couch, and we did it 1 year ago,
Yeah.
about to the day, I believe. We should
Literally.
do this every year.
An annual thing, annual
Everything.
interview.
Yes.
That would be awesome. What do you guys think? I think it's a fantastic idea. Let's do it.
Send in your answers.
Just leave them in the comments. How about that?
That'd be good.
Cool. You let us know if you want it to be an annual thing or not. But see, the thing about annual interviews is they have to come up with original and new questions every time. Because if I keep getting the same questions,
Well, they got a whole year.
well, you got a year to think about it. So come up with something original and great, and that way we'll do it every year.
That'd be
It'll
good.
So, Chris, you know what? I went back and watched the video from last year, and I realized that you didn't even really talk about how you got into gospel music,
Oh.
about your history with that, and then we didn't even talk about your family last time.
Well,
So
we
why
can
don't you
fix
go ahead
that.
and do that? How you got into gospel music
Okay.
and singing, and then talk about your family.
Well, especially with the groups that we're in, Legacy 5, Greater Vision, we talk about the Cathedral Quartet a lot, and I recognize that they're spoken of a lot. When I was 9 years old, my father pastored a church for 32 years there in our hometown of North Carolina, Burlington, North Carolina. And he had the Cathedral Quartet come to our church. I was 9 years old. Kirk Talley, of course, sang with him at the time, tenor singer. And I'll never forget, even as just a 9-year-old boy, watching them, and I was just enamored. I mean, I was so taken back with them. Even then, you know, Kirk was such a communicator, you know, and I was really taken by that. And that night, watching them, I'll never forget, you know, I didn't pray like, God, that's what I want to do. But I remember in my heart thinking and desiring, that's what I want to do. And it really, you know, God, the Bible says God will grant you the desires of your heart. And I believe that means when they coincide with His desires for your life, and I think that did. So He answered that, you know, so this is really an answered prayer.
Cool.
And I didn't only say, hey, I want to sing that music. It was very specific. I wanted to sing that part. Tenor. So, and the song that he sang that night, I Know a Man Who Can, is the song I'm singing now.
That's cool. I didn't know that connection.
All things come around. You know, it's pretty neat.
That is neat.
So anyway, that's how, you know, and then of course I would go every time the cathedrals were anywhere within driving distance, I would be there. As just a kid, you know, up there at the table, and as I grew and grew and grew, I continued to go, and really had a good relationship with as good as you can have, you know, seeing them 2 or 3 times a year.
Right.
And they knew me, and so I got word when Mark Trammell left and was going to form a group with Gerald, you know, that they would need a tenor. And I was like, wow. So I gave Mark a call, and his wife took that, got the message to him. I showed up in Morristown the day they were doing tryouts, unannounced. They did not know I was coming. And I just showed up and said, hey, can I have a tryout? And so it worked.
Now, how did you know they were doing tryouts that day?
I had just gotten word. Actually, Mark did say, well, we're doing tryouts this day, so, you know, and we've got a lot of people trying out, but, you know, if you can make it. And when I say they didn't know I was going to be there, I never said, yes, I'll be there.
Gotcha.
So,
that's pretty cool.
So he didn't, you know, Gerald didn't know. I just showed up, you know, and this is where we're doing it. So I was the first one there.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
That's pretty
they
cool.
called me back. I waited so long every day. I was like, no, wait for the phone to ring. Wait, at least an answer one way or the other. And it finally rang, and they wanted another tryout. So I drove back.
That one was planned.
Yeah, that one was planned. They knew I was coming. So I drove back and tried out one more time, and there was one other guy they tried out as well. And then about a week later, Mark called me and said, "You ready to move to Tennessee?" That was it.
That's
So
awesome.
that's how that came about.
I knew a couple little pieces of that, like with seeing the cathedrals when you were younger, but I didn't know I Know a Man Who Can.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't know about how the audition went. That's a really neat
Very
story.
specific desires.
Yeah, no doubt. Very cool. So now tell everybody about your family.
Oh man, and I have an awesome family. I have of course one wife. You know, she's beautiful. Her name is Kimberly. We got married. We were sweethearts. I met her in the 7th grade.
That's cool.
And beautiful. And we were great friends all through school.
So did you all date in school?
We did a little bit, off and on. And of course, then when we graduated, the year we graduated, 1987, is the same year we married. So we were high school seniors, pretty much. Then just got married that November.
Right after you graduated, you went and got married.
Waited a few months. Okay. Graduated in May. Got married in November.
Okay.
So we were engaged for a little while.
A few months. Hey, it's worked out so far.
That's right, yeah. Hey, in 27 years this year, we'll be married.
How many kids?
4 children. We have one. Dustin is our oldest, and he's a pastor in Kingsport, Tennessee. Jillian is our oldest daughter. She works at Michael Kors, Pigeon Forge. Ladies, go see her and buy a purse.
That's right.
So
my wife loves. That's all she talks about right now is getting a Michael Kors.
Well,
purse.
she needs to go to Jillian and let Jillian be her fashion advisor.
Well, if it wasn't 4 hours away, we probably would show up.
Oh, okay.
But maybe we will head down there for something. We'll stop by.
Yeah, you should, probably.
Maybe when we come down for Praise Fest.
Gotcha. That would be a good.
Severe.
You need to buy your wife a Michael Kors purse.
We'll see what happens. What's the average price tag on one of those?
Next, move on.
I want to know what the average price is.
Well, I don't know. I haven't bought one.
Oh, recommend it for me.
I'm gonna say no. They're pretty high. I'm hearing my daughter talks prices. And
Couple
I
hundred.
heard her talking about one. It was like a little over $300, but she gets a 50% discount.
Ooh.
And also working for the company. You might want to edit all this out. I don't know. But also working for the Michael Kors company.
Well, don't give too much information so I don't have to edit it.
Okay, so my next child is Emery. Emery. He's 21.
Okay.
Lives back in Burlington, North Carolina. And then I have a little 13-year-old. Her name's Jules. She's sweet. Well, she has a great heart. Her mother homeschools her.
Cool.
So we have a little semi-farm. We have a lot of stuff we can talk about. Matt, this could even be continued next week.
To be continued
with Chris Allman. Couch.
What
Fouch,
we
Couch,
should do is we ought to plan the on the couch videos for when we're going to be together, and
that would be the best time to do it when we're together.
No. Listen, I'm continuing on that thought.
Oh, okay.
And you could be the co-host.
I would love that. I could.
And we could, we would have someone sit in between.
Here's Fouch. That kind of thing.
That would be perfect.
So anyway, I was telling you, I live on a farm, a little bit of a farm. My wife homeschools my daughter there, and we have an old house, 1825 year. It was built in 1825, a farmhouse. We live on about 6 acres, and we keep bees. We're beekeepers.
And someone had a question about that. So
really, we'll go. Let's
we'll
go
get
there.
to that. We'll get to that part here shortly.
Sure. Okay. Then I won't talk about that right now. I'll wait for that segment.
Well, what else do you farm?
Well, we have a garden. I have a vegetable garden, and we're looking ahead. We're thinking about planting an acre of blueberry bushes. We've talked about that. I think I told you about that. We'd like to have a little pick your own blueberry farm. So if you're ever there in Morristown here in the next couple of years, and look us up, we might have our farm.
The Almond Berry Farm.
Okay.
Almonds, blueberries.
Yeah.
Blueberry almond.
Almond berry blues.
How about this? You guys come up with the name, and if one of them's really good, you could use it.
Yeah. If it's great, send it on.
Yeah, almond blueberry. You come
We've
up
got
with
a farm. We've got bees. We've got blueberries. We've got vegetables. We're going to have goats. A lot of stuff.
You could have, someday this could just turn into a buy your honey,
we make beeswax
buy
candles.
your bees, buy your candles, come get your blueberries, come get your fresh garden vegetables.
And I sing on the side.
And Chris will do a mini concert.
Right.
Solo.
That'd be good. That'd be awesome.
And buy a Chris Allman solo CD while you're there.
But anyway, man, I got a great family.
That's awesome.
Great family.
Hope you guys enjoyed that little section. That's actually nearly a whole video of information just right there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But we have got a page full of questions.
Okay.
Are you ready for them?
Let's do it.
All right. First one is from Rob Brunk, and Rob has submitted questions before for other people. He's a regular submitter. Thank you, Rob.
Well, that's good. Thanks, Rob.
And he wants to know, these are going to be singing related questions or music related.
Okay.
He wants to know, what is your most vocally challenging song with Greater Vision?
Okay, probably Looking for the Grace. It's not one that's incredibly high, but it's so fast, and there's so many words, and of course, you know, as a bass singer, you got to have a lot of wind to sing anyway. So when you're singing so many words, I'm looking for the grace, so on and on and on. So getting there at the end, I mean, you just get to where you're getting tired, you're wearing out. So it's not really so high. And then of course we even encore it, where I take it up and take the lead on it. So I'm about spent at the end of that one. So right now I would say I'm looking for the grace.
There you go.
That's it.
Vaughn Media, I think this is the first time that a question has been submitted with them. They'd like to know, if Greater Vision became a quartet, who would you guys hire to sing bass?
Wow, that's hard. That's a hard question. We'd have to have tryouts, I suppose. And
Well, who would you like to have? If you could pick one guy.
Like one that is just available? A guy?
No, just one bass singer in general, I guess. Who do you think would fit a Greater Vision quartet?
I feel bad because if I don't say Matt Fouch, you're gonna be upset.
I'm not gonna be upset. I've got a great job with a great group. I don't.
You do. And see, the only reason we wouldn't choose you is because you're already with a group. We wouldn't want to steal you from our friends.
Okay. Well, sorry, no answer.
I don't know. I mean, how do you know? How do you know?
Okay,
I mean, if you could choose any bass singer that's ever been, I mean, who would you choose? George Johns. You know, I'd love to sing with George Johns. So Pat Barker is a great bass singer. I love his singing.
Stylistically would be.
I like a rhythm singer. I like a, you know, and he would, everybody gonna have a little. He had a great rhythm in his voice. Pat Barker has great rhythm in his voice.
He does.
And you're an incredibly low singer.
Well,
just hit a low note.
I bet you could be a bass singer.
Hit a low note.
Yeah. See how low
It shook the couch.
On the couch.
Fouch shook the couch.
There you
So go ahead.
Next question. Ruth Ann DeForest would like to know, have you ever wished you had stayed with Greater Vision and not gone to do solo work and preaching?
No, I don't, because those you know, you learn a lot in every aspect or season of your life. You know, and there are things that I learned. There are ways that I grew up, ways that I matured. I was able to fail in some areas and learn from that. You know, failure is not always a bad thing. Failure, well, you can't learn how to handle adversity in the event that you never are faced with it.
Right.
So, you know, and that's not to say all of those years were adversity filled. You know, I had great years. I mean, my solo, honestly, you know, when I was a soloist, that was one of my favorite periods of life because, you know, spoke to my family a while ago, you know, that when summer came, everywhere I went, they went with me.
Cool.
So, you know, we would go and like, hey, I'm singing in Florida this week, but we'll go to Disney World while we're down there.
Hey.
And, you know, and then, you know, it was just a lot, it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. So to answer your question, no.
Well, just to add to what you were just saying, I saw a quote, I believe it was on Twitter, and I'm going to paraphrase because I don't remember exactly what it was and who said it, but it was something to the effect of the only time you fail is when you don't learn from your failures.
Right.
So even when you do have a failure and you learn from that, it's going to be a positive experience.
Absolutely. Helps you not to fail in that way again.
Right. So.
Right, and you can also help with others. You know, like when my father passed away, you know, a lot of people come up in the funeral line or the visitation line and they say, I know exactly how you feel. Well, but their father was still alive, so no, they didn't know exactly how I felt. You know, and the only way that you can really minister to a need is if you've ever experienced the same need or been through the same storms.
Right. It's true.
There you go.
All right, Terry Snyder, do you wish you were a bass?
No.
Okay. Brian Kraut, are you an alien or a robot? And the reason he asked that question is because and he was being complimentary with this, and he was saying, just your singing, that's just not human. He's saying how good you are, how well you sing. It's not human that someone should be able to do that. So he wants to know if you're an alien or a robot.
I'm an alien. We're all aliens. We're not of this world, brother.
Hey.
We're in the world, but we're not of this world.
That's right.
Amen.
Amen. That's good. All right. We're going to go to a few funny questions here.
Okay. That was funny.
Karen Melvin wants to know, how will the Tar Heels do this upcoming basketball season?
You know what? That's hard to say. I can imagine they'll do well because last year I did not expect that they would do well, and they did. You know, a lot better than they did, and their players are returning for the most part.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking they're going to have
Hopefully
a good season.
Jordan Cragen wants to know, where did you learn the art of beekeeping?
Oh, Jordan Cragen. I learned the art of that. That was such a mistake. When we moved into our 1825 farmhouse we spoke of a moment ago, there were honeybees in the chimney. They had, in my daughter's room upstairs, behind where the fireplace was and the chimney went up in the wall, behind the sheetrock, honeybees had gotten in there, swarmed, and we had to get rid of them. So we had to call a beekeeper. And we had toyed with the notion of one day it'd be neat to have some hives, but we didn't know anything about it. Well, we called these beekeepers. They came and they pulled the sheetrock out and they extracted those bees. But they kept them, you know.
Right.
Some were killed in the process, so sorry. But they were gentle. They have the stuff that they need, and they put them in a hive. And then the beekeeper was there, and he said, "Well, you have a beautiful property here. Would you mind if I put a hive on your property?" I said, "No, I wouldn't mind at all. If you do, I'll share the honey with you." I said, "Yeah, let's do it." So we did, and that's pretty much how it
So by
happened.
accident.
Really?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. This is a quick hitter. Rebecca Gardner wants to know, pick one person that's not a family member to be stranded on an island with. It's a good question.
It is one person who is not
Not a family member that you would want to be stranded on an island with.
Rodney Griffin.
That's,
And it's something too, because I travel with him all the
I
time.
know. You're on the bus with
You don't
him.
want me to say anything about
4 days
that,
a
or
week.
is it just the net? You said quick.
We'll go to the next one.
I mean, people might be like, why?
Okay, go ahead.
Rodney Griffin. He's funny. Never have I ever experienced waking up on the bus and Rodney having a bad day. He's totally always the same. We totally always joke, always laughing. No problem, not one single issue.
Yeah.
He's just fun.
And I'm sure he'd be the same if he was stranded on an island with you.
Right. And he would probably choose me.
You know what? I'm going to interview him sometime in the near future.
Okay.
So I'll ask him that question as well.
Yeah.
And see who he
Let's
picks.
see.
If you were stranded on an island and you could only pick one person to be stranded with, and it could not be a family member,
Wow.
who would you pick?
Tony Romo, because he throws a great spiral.
There you have it. Throw spirals until someone finds you. You know what? It's time for the Fouch Zone. You've been in the Fouch Zone before, so here we go. First question. What is the longest word typed only using the left hand?
Supercalifragilistic.
Time. How many eyelids does a camel have?
3.
That's 8. That's the right answer. How does Tales of 1001 of Arabian Nights begin? Time. How many letters are in the Hawaiian alphabet?
23.
Time. How long can a pig look up into the sky?
2 seconds.
Hey, there was great answers. You actually got one of them right.
How many people have done that?
None.
Oh!
I don't think ever. The longest word typed with only the left hand is stewardesses.
Stewardesses.
Mhm.
Oh, awesome.
And how does Tales of 1001 Arabian Nights begin? It's some kind of words, but you did like a tune.
Yeah, I was fixing to sing the word.
Oh, okay. How many letters in the Hawaiian alphabet is 12?
Oh, okay.
And how long can a pig look up into the sky is not 2 seconds, because the pig cannot physically look up into the sky.
Yeah, it'd be like,
Exactly.
it's like,
That's the problem.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining
Enjoyed
me.
it.
And thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.